All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench Podcast. Today is a very important episode. Might be our most important episode yet of the show, and I'll get into why that is in a second. Will cannot be with us again tonight. He is attending a high school football game right now, so he's more locked in than I am. It is a lovely Thursday night here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I have just watched the South Florida Bulls absolutely dismantle the Boise State Broncos, who were the betting favorite to make the playoffs out of the group of five, and all of a sudden that has completely flipped on its head, which is fascinating. And I can't wait to talk about that as the season gets going. I think that it's going to be so much fun to see which group of five teams can make the playoffs. I have Navy in the playoffs personally, but Boise State, man, no run game whatsoever. Matson struggled. This offense couldn't move the ball past the first quarter. But I digress. We'll leave that for a different time. Minnesota right now is up on Buffalo. My Gophers lead 7-0. The defense looks great. Offense, it's the first starting game for a freshman quarterback, so it's going to look rough. Missouri comfortable at halftime as expected, and Nebraska, Cincinnati are about to kick off. Now, that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about week one. And I said at the beginning, this might be the most important episode yet, and that is because this is the first week of our week one game picks. Now, last week we did pick the Iowa State-Kansas State game. I got it right, Will did not. So I'm up 1-0 overall in the season series. But this is the beginning of a season-long adventure where Will and I are going to pick the biggest games of the season. Wow, Kyle Schwarber hit 4 home runs in a game. Good for him. Anyway, we're both going to pick the biggest games of the season, and we're going to see each week who comes out on top as the most right one. So I'm not going to delay any longer. I'm going to start with, obviously, where everyone will be starting on Saturday morning after, of course, Lee Corso's last game day, and that is in Columbus, Ohio, where the defending national champions host the number one ranked Texas Longhorns. They're number one in my poll. They're number one in the AP poll. They're number one in pretty much every single other poll that you're going to find. And they're wheeling out Arch Manning, the Arch Manning, to play in the horseshoe against the Jeremiah Smith and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Cannot wait for this game. It's going to be so much fun. I've heard some people say they're not really going to watch this game as closely as they'll watch other games because it's kind of an exhibition game. The winner is going to, of course, be catapulted to number one. The loser is still going to make the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter. These teams aren't going to look the same as they will come championship playoff time. I disagree. I think this game's going to be fascinating. I think that we could see Julian Sayin be an amazing elite college football quarterback right out of the gates, and we're saying, wow, this dude has Heisman potential. He could be the best quarterback in college football. We could also see Julian Sayin go out and go like 10 for 25 with 2 interceptions and not show any flashes of brilliance and say, wow, this looks rough. We could see the coordinators for Ohio State, the new coordinators, go out and call great plays, and Ohio State could look like a great team. Or they could look much more dead than they did last year. We really don't know, which is why I'm so excited to watch this game. There's so much talent. I think anything could happen. A lot of people are saying, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be close. Who knows? No one knows it's going to be close. Texas could win by 40. Maybe 40 is a bit extreme. Texas could win by 20. Ohio State could win by 20. Anything could happen in this game. I cannot wait for it. So much talent on the field. So much new talent on the field that we don't know about yet. There's got to be a breakout star somewhere. Whether it's James Peoples or whether it's Ryan Wingo or anybody on either defensive lines other than Colin Simmons and Ethan Burke. I cannot wait to watch this game. It's going to be so epic. It's what everyone's been talking about pretty much all offseason. Will's pick. I'll go with Will's pick first. Will likes Texas over Ohio State. I'm going to read word for word on the very important all-knowing iPad what Will texted me about Texas. He says, it's going to be cinema, and I agree. He thinks Arch Manning makes more plays towards the end than Julian Sayin. Fair enough. So Will has got Texas taking down the Buckeyes in Columbus. As for myself, I think both teams are eerily similar in that they have so much talent, but At the same time, so much new talent, so much that we don't know about, especially on offense for Texas and especially on the defensive line for Ohio State. I think we could see a number of things happen. We could see Texas run the ball super effectively like they did a lot last year. We could also see that with Ohio State. We could see Arch Manning look like the Heisman favorite that he's going to look like. We could also see Arch Manning just look okay, and Texas still wins the game because Steve Sarkisian is that good of an offensive mind. I think Ryan Wingo could make a couple big plays. We're saying, of course, Jeremiah Smith is going to be a factor in this game, but last year when these two teams played, Ohio State didn't get the ball to Jeremiah Smith at all. Texas limited him almost completely. He had one catch for 3 yards. So that could happen again. You got Malik Muhammad out there at corner. They're going to be shadowing over top with the safety pretty much every single play. That's what they did last year. So can Ohio State's run game step up and run the ball consistently if Texas takes out Jeremiah Smith, which could happen? It's what happened last year. They relied a lot on TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, but guess what? Those guys are gone. So someone's going to have to step up on this Ohio State team. It could be Carnell Tate. It could be James Peoples, C.J. Donaldson. They've got the talent, but who is going to step up and lead this team to success offensively? The reason I think that Texas is going to win, that's my pick. I'm picking Texas. I think that the coordinator and the coaching staff is what gives Texas the biggest edge in this game. I think that Texas has maybe the best coaching staff in college football, and that means not just Steve Sarkisian, but everyone around Steve Sarkisian. They're experienced, they know what they're doing, and I think Texas is going to walk in there. I don't think they're going to win by 20, but I think Texas is going to control this game early and sort of keep Ohio State at arm's length for a lot of the game. I think that people on Ohio State are going to make big plays. I think it's going to be lower scoring than some people expect. I don't think that Texas is going to win 45-40. I like Texas to win maybe 27-20. I think that's what I've got for the Texas Longhorns. A player to watch in this game, in my opinion, Jack Indries, tight end from Cal. We love to see, or at least I love to see, how Sarkisian works his tight ends into his team. We saw it last year with Gunnar Helm. I thought I was going to see it with Amari Nyblack, but it was Gunnar Helm who, Sarkisian really used as a great tool to move the football, especially in the red zone. So I think it could be Jack Indries this year that really steps up into that role and makes a bigger impact than a lot of people are talking about. But I got Texas. Me and Will both have Texas. It's a wash there. But that's going to be an awesome game. I cannot wait for that game. I'm going to be sitting on this couch, watching that TV, turning it to Fox right after Lee Corso's final headgear pick. He's going to pick Ohio State because Brutus is his first love. I understand. And then I'm just going to enjoy two of the best, most talented teams in college football go at it. So I cannot wait. That's what we got for Texas, Ohio State. Next game we're going to pick is the second most, talked about, discussed game this week. And that is Clemson, LSU. Tigers versus Tigers. Death Valley hosting Death Valley. This game is going to be so awesome. I cannot wait to watch this game. I also can't wait for the aftermath of this game. I think it's going to be even more intriguing than the game itself because the winner of this game, yes, is going to be catapulted into national championship conversations if they're not already. And they're going to be top 5 team. Everyone's going to be singing their praises. And if Clemson wins, we're going to be talking about how Dabo Swinney's finally got his team to dominate the SEC and dominate the ACC and make it to the college football playoffs and make serious national noise. If LSU wins, then who knows? Maybe people are going to be talking about Brian Kelly as this huge success. And if their defense shows out in this game, it's, they fixed all their problems. And LSU is going to run through the SEC just like they did in 2019. So the winner of this game will be catapulted into those conversations. But the loser of this game, watch out. It's going to be so much fun to witness this. If Clemson loses, the narrative is still the same. It's, you're good in the ACC. Yeah, you can win the ACC, for sure. We've seen you do that. You can do it. We're not taking that away from you. But once you start playing those good teams, once you start playing some SEC opponents, you can't hang with those guys. No, those are the big guys. And they're up here and you're down here. Do I agree with that? No, I do not. But it's going to be interesting to see. If Clemson loses to LSU, they're going to be dismissed, which is going to be so fascinating to see because everyone and their mother has been singing Clemson's praises this entire offseason. And if they lose to LSU, it's all back to last year. It's not Clemson. They're old school. They're not new with the times. They're not gonna hang with the most powerful teams in this college football world. It'll flip that fast if Clemson loses this game, and I think it's gonna be entertaining to see if it happens. And then on the other side, if LSU loses this game, it's Brian Kelly, man, this guy's not gonna work at LSU. It's never gonna be towards its peak. He can't maximize LSU's potential. They need a new coach. He's a northern guy. He doesn't know how to win down here in the South. Or it's going to be Garrett Nussmeier. He turns the ball over too much. Garrett Nussmeier throws 2 picks. It's, oh man, this guy, they're not going to have offensive consistency with number 13 at quarterback. Or it could be the defense. The defense, Clemson could put up 30-plus points. And then you're like, oh, this defensive staff, it's not going to work. I mean, look what we just saw. So I cannot wait for the aftermath of this game. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We are talking about the game itself. Will's pick, I'll say what Will has to say first. He's got Clemson over LSU. He says he thinks the front 7 of the Orange Tigers are just too much. Don't have enough trust in the brand new offensive tackles for the Bayou Bengals. So Will thinks Clemson's defensive line is going to bully LSU's offensive line. And you know what? I see where he's coming from. I mean, Clemson's defensive line is as good as any in the college football world. T.J. Parker and Peter Woods really headlined that. Do I think they're as good as people are saying? I think T.J. Parker is. I think that guy's a dog. I think that he's going to be a first-round draft pick, and I think he's going to have double-digit sacks again this year. But Peter Woods, I think he might be a little overrated. He hasn't shown me that much on the college football field. He was a pretty good recruit, but he wasn't an elite recruit, and he hasn't been elite in college football, yet everyone is talking about how he's the best defensive tackle in the sport. So I haven't seen as much from him. But that being said, there's a lot more to talk about from this game. Starting with Clemson, so much returning talent. I mean, that's been what we've been talking about pretty much all offseason with the Tigers, and it helps to have that in the first couple weeks of the year. And this game is in week 1. So I think we'll see. I've said on the ACC preview and on my college football playoff rankings, I think that Clemson's floor is higher than almost anyone's in the country, but their ceiling, I'm not sure. Because last year's team was not elite. They made the playoffs. They won the ACC. They had a good year. But they went 0-3 against the SEC. They got dominated at home against Louisville. So can this team be elite? Can they contend? I don't know. Because we saw what this team did last year, and it was not that. So we'll have to see with Clemson in terms of their ceiling. But luckily for them, this is week 1. So this is where the floor comes in. This is where the experience really shows because they have way, way, way much more experience than LSU. If this game was in week 12, I wouldn't be bringing this up. Returning starters don't matter when you're in week 12. But this is week 1. This is fresh. And Clemson is a seasoned roster. So I think they have the advantage over LSU in that aspect. But talent-wise, LSU is talented, man. I mean, this Tigers team is hungry, and they have weapons on both sides of the ball. Start with offense. I think the pros for LSU's offense are very obviously the passing game. That is Garrett Nussmeier. That is these 3 NFL-level receivers who all bring something different to the table. You know, Nick Anderson is your big, physical route runner who's going to be a red zone threat and a dominant receiver. Barrion Brown's your speedster who can really stretch the field. Who could provide explosive big plays for Garrett Nussmeier. He's got that big arm. And Aaron Anderson is a crafty route runner. Should get, 8 to 10 catches every single game. Maybe not for the most yards ever, but, I mean, this dude is a great route runner. He knows Garrett Nussmeier. He knows the system. He was there last year. So the passing game for LSU, elite. The rushing game, a little unproven. Last year was solid, not fantastic. And that was with one of the best lines in, good defense, Coy Parrish. watching the Minnesota game. That was one of the best offensive lines in the SEC last year. And this year, they lost a lot of what made that so great. So can they run the ball on first and second down, especially against this Clemson defense? I'm not sure. But defensively, I think LSU is so improved from last season. I love the hires they've made. The transfer guys that they brought in are fantastic. I think that all three levels of the defense are so fascinating. It's so interesting for LSU. I think that we're going to see a major improvement from that side of the football. I've gone back and forth on this game so many times. I think that it's so up in the air. I cannot wait to watch it. But I have to go with the team that I think is the most talented. I have to go with the team that I think is going to step up in the fourth quarter and make the big plays. I've got the LSU Tigers going into Death Valley and upsetting Clemson, which is bold. I had Clemson yesterday winning this game, but I really thought about it, and I'm going with LSU, which will be huge for their playoff chances, by the way. So I cannot wait to watch this game. I'm so excited. I can't wait to react to it afterwards. But I got the Bayou Bengals taking down the Clemson Tigers, which is me and Will's first disagreement. Next game that we've got on the schedule is the 2:30 game. The Alabama Crimson Tide travel to Tallahassee into that raucous environment to take on Florida State. And, a lot's been said about this game. I'm just going to say straight up, me and Will both have Alabama. Me and Will both trust Kalen DeBoer a lot more than Mike Norvell in big games. I, for one, think that Alabama's roster is just so much more dynamically talented than Florida State's. I think they have the edge in pretty much every single category. The only edge that maybe Florida State can have in this game is creativity with Gus Malzahn in this run game. If Thomas Castellanos goes out there and makes plays with his legs within this Gus Malzahn offense, then it could be close. No way Florida State blows out Alabama, but, go Ahmad Hardy. Kick return, baby. Dude, college football's back, man. This is such a fun night. I got the quad screen going. Anyway, Florida State can keep it close. Do they win? No. For Florida State's season, for the sake of their year, you got to keep it close, especially for the sake of Mike Norvell. He's been there 5 years, 3 of those years losing seasons. So he's got to get back on schedule. It starts in week 1. Again, a lot of transfers for Florida State. Does that gel together? I think it does by week 6, but not by week 1 when you're hosting Alabama. We both have the Crimson Tide. We both have the Crimson Tide covering, although I think there's a solid chance that Florida State, loses by less than 13.5, which I believe is what the line is at right now. We both have Alabama. Moving on. Important stuff. I'm going to take a little water break here because it's some important stuff. All right. From the Cabo Bob's Cup. Shout out Cabo Bob's. Not sponsored, but that would be awesome. Next game that we have on the schedule from the very important notebook, we are going to start with Friday night games. Baylor hosting Auburn. This game is going to be fascinating. All SEC fans can't wait to watch this game because they get to watch Auburn and the Tigers go down to Waco and have a dogfight with Baylor. This game is fascinating, I think. A lot of these Auburn players, they just want to head into Waco. This might be the only time they ever visit Waco. Just head in there, get a win, and get out of there. But Baylor is pesky. They return Sawyer Robertson. This guy was a dog last year. He's a gunslinger. He's really, really fun to watch. If you've never watched Baylor, if you've never watched Sawyer Robertson, watch the Auburn game because he is fun to watch. They also got Byron Washington, their running back, returning. Oh my goodness, man, Ahmad Hardy might be for real. This dude's balling. But Auburn, on the other hand, is who I am more excited to watch because who knows what we're going to get out of Jackson Arnold. I think I know because I've seen Jackson Arnold play college football and it's rough. It's not fun to watch. But at the same time, it's so different. I mean, Auburn, their receivers are healthy. Jackson Arnold is throwing to healthy receivers. And not only that, but their receivers are better than what even Oklahoma's starting receivers were. Does that produce offensive fruit? We'll see. I think Auburn needs to run the ball in this game to really cushion Jackson Arnold. Can they run the ball? I think so, but not dominantly. They never ran it dominantly last year. I mean, Damari Alston is no Jarquez Hunter. We know that. So I think that offensively it's going to be fascinating. In terms of Baylor, I've said I don't trust Auburn's secondary. And this is a sort of team that you want a good secondary to go up against because Baylor can throw the ball. Will, shockingly, went against his favorite team and picked Baylor. He's got Baylor over Auburn. He just has more trust in their quarterback and running back for the Bears. He thinks they have the edge in that aspect, and home field will play an advantage. I am on the opposite side. I've got the Auburn Tigers, so that's our second disagreement. I think Auburn's more talented. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be not crazy high scoring, but I think I've got Auburn 30-24. I think it's a safe bet. The Tigers, I think, are going to get in there. I think that Baylor's going to maybe take a little bit of an early lead, but I think Auburn's more talented. I think their defense is more talented. Keldrick Faulk can make a big play down the stretch to sort of help win this game. I could totally see that happening. I think this game is going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch it. But I got the Auburn Tigers. Our next Thursday game, or not Thursday game, bear with me, Friday game, is Georgia Tech at Colorado, a game that has been getting no discussion whatsoever. The only really discussion I've heard about this is seeing Georgia Tech's uniforms that they're wearing for that game, and wow, they are beautiful. If you don't like football, just turn on the game and just look at Georgia Tech's uniforms. And if that doesn't make you like football, then I'm not really sure what can, because those things are sweet. I've always loved Georgia Tech's uniforms, at least the last couple of years. I like the gold and the white mixed in with the blue. Even though I'm colorblind, really, I still love those uniforms. Will has Colorado in this game. He says he's got Colorado over Georgia Tech. He loves Caden Salter. He sees him meshing really, really well with Deion Sanders. He thinks it's going to be a high-scoring back-and-forth battle between Salter as well as Haynes King and the Buffs, but he just likes the Buffaloes. He says he could be wrong. I am very intrigued by this game as well. Every game. There's so many games I'm so intrigued by. Not every game on this list I'm as intrigued by, but this game is going to be awesome. I don't think it's going to be close, to be completely honest. Caden Salter is great. He's a fun player. He's never played against a Brent Key type of passion level team. I think Georgia Tech's defense is far more talented, especially than Colorado's offensive line. We saw how bad they were last year. They didn't do much to support that. I think Georgia Tech has so much more of an identity on their team, especially in the offensive side of the ball. I think they shrink the game, which really goes against Colorado's play style. I think that Haynes King and Jamal Haynes are just ballers. I think Malik Rutherford is experienced. Same with King and Haynes. I mean, these guys are experienced with this team. They know how to win playing Georgia Tech football, which is very important in a Week 1 game. So I got Georgia Tech. I got Georgia Tech probably 33-10 level game. I really think Georgia Tech, and this could backfire because we all know that not trusting Deion Sanders is not a good thing. This is not me saying Deion Sanders' team is bad this year. Do I think Colorado could possibly contend in the Big 12? Yes, it's the Big 12. Pretty much anybody can. I'm excited to see what the post-Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders era looks like in Colorado. I do think it'll be interesting to see whether Colorado wins or loses this game. The media is going to react so differently. It's either going to be they win against a really good Georgia Tech team, and people are going to be singing Deion's praises. They're going to be saying, oh, he's a great college football coach. This program is in the right place. It's headed in the right direction. But if they lose, like I think they're going to lose, it's all going to be about, wow, Deion, man, he was really just riding the coattails of Travis Hunter. And I hope that's not true because I like Deion, but that's what people are going to be saying if they get blown out by Georgia Tech. I got the Yellow Jackets. Will's got the Buffaloes. So Friday night, he's going to be cheering for the Bears and the Buffs. I'm going to be cheering for the Jackets and the Tigers. Controversy. Some distress There's going to be a little murder in the waters on Friday night between me and Will. But we'll see. Our next week 1 game that we're going to talk about briefly, albeit because I'm not very excited about this game. We got Tennessee versus Syracuse, held in, I believe, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Will's got Tennessee. He thinks that Syracuse keeps it close for a while, but can't score against the Vols defense. I agree that Syracuse can't score against the Vols defense. Vols defense is great. It's super talented. The coaching staff that made it great last year is still there for the most part. I think the defense is going to be awesome. I also think Josh Heupel's offense thrives against inferior non-SEC opponents. Just look at the NC State game last year. That game was supposed to be a really good game, and the Vols Josh Heupel just tore them apart. I trust Tennessee's coaching staff way more than I trust Syracuse's coaching staff. Tennessee's got more talent. I like Tennessee 40-10. I think Tennessee's easily going to win this game. I've heard some people say Syracuse is going to keep it close. And, if Syracuse wins this game, Tennessee might not make a bowl game because their schedule's that tough. And I don't think they're that talented compared to the rest of the SEC. A lot of orange in that game. A lot of orange, I'll say that. But I've got Tennessee. Will's got Tennessee. Moving on, because I don't want to talk about this game as much. And I'm not going to be watching this game because Ohio State, Texas is happening at that time. So why would anyone ever watch Tennessee, Syracuse? Next game that I've got on the list is the last game that I'm going to watch on Saturday night. That is Utah and UCLA. Now, bear with me. I'm going to take a little sip of water before talking about this one. It really pains me that this game is Big 12 versus Big 10. Because I look at this game, I look at Utah, UCLA, and it makes me think of the good old days of the Pac-12. And I miss those good old days. I really do. So I'm really thankful for this matchup late on Saturday night. It brings back memories of better times, of Pac-12 after dark. So that's why I'm excited to watch this game. And it's not the pang of loss, but it's the happiness that I got to witness something so beautiful and so great as the Pac-12. So I'm just going to take a moment of silence real quick in remembrance of the Pac-12. All right, moving on. Utah and UCLA. This game's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because of 2 reasons. Utah's got a pretty dang good defense, and Nico Imaliava has got a pretty dang bad offense around him. So Nico, I think it's going to be fascinating. He chooses, or he attempts to choose, money and personal glory over a team around him and loyalty. And he is going to reap that in week 1 against Utah's defense, because if he was playing Utah on Tennessee with Josh Heupel's offense, with Tennessee's weapons, it would be way different. But now he's got UCLA's coaching staff, and he's got UCLA's weapons, and I don't think it's gonna be pretty. I've got Utah. Will's got Utah. He said he loves Utah's quarterback, Devin Dampier. He took New Mexico's offense to new heights last year. Will be great in this one. Thankful I saw him play live versus Auburn last year. Devin Dampier, is he as talented as Nico? No. Is his defense as talented as UCLA's defense? Yeah, way more talented. And he's got a winning coach back there. And I've got Utah. I don't see it any other way. But I'm excited to watch this game because I'm excited to feel the happiness that I felt watching the Pac-12 as a kid. We both got Utah. Moving on to the Sunday games. And, a lot of people have a lot of interesting opinions about Sunday games. And fair enough, because Sunday is an NFL day. It's also the Lord's Day, even though every day is the Lord's Day. But we have Sunday college football. To that, do I say nay? No, I say yay, because it's college football and it's on a day other than Saturday. I'm watching Thursday night college. I'm watching Buffalo, Minnesota. I'm watching Cincinnati, Nebraska, and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are on the screen. that doesn't make me happy. I mean, good for them. Happy for them that they got engaged, but I don't want to watch them. I want to watch football. So I like Sunday football because it's football, and I can watch it, and it's meaningful and it's good. So why would I not enjoy that? We've got South Carolina versus Virginia Tech. Will is on the side of blowout. Will says he doesn't think this game is going to be very close at all. He thinks the Gamecocks shut the lights out pretty early and dominate. Fair enough, Will. I mean, you don't even have to mention the Hokies. You're just all in on the Gamecocks. He sees a massacre. I see some hope for Virginia Tech. Hope that they'll win this game. I mean, you never know. Do you remember back in the day when unranked Virginia Tech took down Ohio State in week 2? Anybody remember that game? Anybody remember Braxton Miller? Or am I the only one? I might be the only one. Virginia Tech has talent. They have coaching. Virginia Tech is not a bad program. Are they a great program? No. But they're not a bad program. And last year going into this season, Virginia Tech had much more hype than South Carolina. And South Carolina finishes the game ranked in the top 15. And Virginia Tech, people forgot about them all year. They lose Tootin, their best player, their running back to the NFL draft. But I think Virginia Tech can keep this game close. I think South Carolina has a lot of young talent, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. I'm not hushing on young players. We saw what Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams did last year. They have some first-year starters, which again is inevitable, and it's not a bad thing. But again, if these two teams are playing in Week 12, I have much more faith in South Carolina because returning starters don't matter. But for this game, I think South Carolina takes a little bit to settle into things. I think Lenora Sellers obviously puts on a show. And I am very excited to see which wide receivers he trusts the most because there are a lot of unproven guys out there. So I'm taking South Carolina. I'm taking the Gamecocks, I'd say maybe 28-10, which I know doesn't sound very close, but I think, maybe going into halftime, this game is, 14-7. I would not be surprised. I think South Carolina is way more talented. I think their defense is going to pretty much shut Virginia Tech's offense down for the most part. Give me Beamer ball. Give me the Gamecocks. Will and I agree. Which leads us to, you know what? I'm going to do the Miami game last because that's a big one. We're going to go out to North Carolina. And we are going to talk about the Horned Frogs going into Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. Bill Belichick's first game. I mean, why are we comparing Dylan Raiola to Patrick Mahomes? It literally season just started. ESPN is going crazy over here. Anyway, TCU and North Carolina, fascinating matchup. It would be a fascinating matchup if Bill Belichick was not there. But now that Bill Belichick is there, it's gotten 10 times more fascinating. ESPN, college football media, are dying to have North Carolina win this game. Because if North Carolina wins this game, it should set them up to win against UCF. And if they win against UCF and they win against TCU, they will most likely, barring an unbelievable performance from like Illinois State, they should be undefeated going into the Clemson game. And if you can get undefeated Bill Belichick against Clemson at that 2:30 slot on ABC, ESPN's going to be licking their chops. So the college football world wants North Carolina to win. And that is why I'm taking Sonny Dykes to win this game. Will also is. He's got TCU over North Carolina. He says he loves Josh Hoover. He has so much more confidence in the Horned Frogs than the revamped Heels offense. I agree with a lot of that. I think that it's going to take North Carolina a little bit to get their feet under them. Again, I think they only have 2 players on their whole entire starting lineup on defense who are not incoming transfers. And that's not a bad thing. It can work out. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. I don't think it's what anyone should be striving for. But at the same time, it could work out, 7 or 8 weeks down the line. Will it work out in week 1? Probably not. Against a TCU team that's well coached and against a TCU team that has talent. I don't trust it. I trust TCU more. I trust their coaching staff more. I trust Josh Hoover more. So give me the Horned Frogs to go into North Carolina, into Chapel Hill, and get a big win to set up their season in the Big 12. Again, another Big 12 contender. So Will and I agree on that game, which sets us up for what I think could be the most entertaining game that either of these two teams play all year. Notre Dame and Miami. Of course, Miami plays Florida later in the year, so that one could be awesome too. But for Notre Dame, they've got this game. If they can beat Miami, then that's the toughest game on their schedule. They got to play A&M. I'm not shaming A&M. I think A&M's a great team. But this game is tougher than A&M, in my opinion. Now, is it realistic to assume that Notre Dame could win their toughest game of the year and then proceed to lose to an inferior opponent? How dare you suggest that? That will never happen. Okay? Notre Dame will never lose to an inferior opponent. Okay? If Notre Dame wins their road game against a really, really good team in the opener, it ever happen that they lose to a soft, non-Power 5 team in week 2. Okay? I don't want to hear that because that's not a realistic possibility. Shutting those conversations down. So this game, this is the one to win for Notre Dame. Because if they win this one, there's no way they're losing to Northern Illinois. It's not happening. Notre Dame, Miami. Fascinating game. I think these are both fascinating teams. Will has got Notre Dame. He says that it could be a fascinating game, and he thinks it lives up to the hype. A lot of hype. He thinks it lives up to it. And he could see the Irish making a late field goal, and that could be the difference. So Will thinks it's going to be close. I agree with that. I think that the most fascinating part about this game will be Miami's running game versus Notre Dame's defense. I love Miami's offensive line and defensive line for that matter, but for now we're talking about the offensive line. I think Mark Fletcher is really, really talented. I think this team is built to run the ball. I think if we look at what Georgia did in 2023 when they had Carson Beck, they ran the ball consistently on first and second down, which set up Carson Beck in play-action scenarios and just sort of helped him be an elite college football quarterback, which he was in 2023. I think that we can see that this year with Miami. I think that they could run the ball really effectively with this veteran offensive line. They're veteran, but they're good. It's the same offensive line that protected Cam Ward last year and did a great job doing it. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think they either led or were at least top 2 or 3 in the ACC last year in rushing yards per game. I think they were first. But this Miami team should be able to run the ball, and that will set up their offense. It'll be really, really consistent, and I think they're going to be on time. Will it work against Notre Dame? That's the question, because Notre Dame's defense is spectacular. So that's the matchup that I'm most excited about. On the other side of the ball, CJ Carr is inexperienced. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think CJ Carr has a lot of potential to be a great quarterback at Notre Dame. And I'm really glad that Marcus Freeman is sticking with CJ Carr because I really like CJ Carr. But again, it's week 1. By week 12, he's not going to have a lack of experience because he's going to have seen a lot. But it's week 1. There's inexperience. It's on the road. Is it that ruckus of a road environment? No. But it's not a home environment. So I'm taking Miami. I'm taking the Hurricanes. I'm taking this revamped secondary to shut down Notre Dame's passing game. I don't think CJ Carr throws for 200 yards. I'm taking these linebackers, transfer from Rutgers. That guy's elite. I really like the guys they have returning on the defensive line, Ruben Bain included, if they can stay healthy, which, again, it's week 1, so everyone's going to be healthy. I think Notre Dame loses to Miami in week 1. I'm taking the Hurricanes and Mario Cristobal. Again, I don't think the Hurricanes are going to win because Carson Beck's going to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think Carson Beck is going to go 18 for 22 with 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That is what I think Carson Beck's stat line is going to be. He's going to be efficient. He's going to be effective. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to make mistakes. And he's going to play like a veteran, experienced leader. And I think Miami's going to run the ball. I think they're going to not entirely stop Notre Dame's run game, but they're going to slow it down. And I think Notre Dame hangs in the game because of the explosiveness of Jeremiah Love. But at the end of the day, I think the Hurricanes bite Notre Dame to start the year. And what of a start to the year that would be for the Hurricanes. And Notre Dame would have to rebound against Texas A&M, which would be awesome to see. So that's another one me and Will disagree on. I have Auburn, he has Baylor. I have Georgia Tech, he has Colorado. I have LSU, he has Clemson. I have Miami, he's got Notre Dame. I already have a 1-point lead on him, but we'll see how the rest of this year goes. I cannot wait for week 1. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because we got College Game Day at 8 a.m. We're all going to be emotional. Lee Corso's last show, he's a living legend. He's going to pick Ohio State. We're going to turn our channels directly to Fox from ESPN. We're going to watch Texas-Ohio State be the masterpiece that I think it's going to be. And then we're gonna switch the channel to ESPN. We're gonna watch Alabama dominate against Florida State. Hopefully, the Alabama fan in me really hopes that happens. When that game's done, we're gonna watch Clemson LSU just be a masterpiece of a ball game. That's just college football at its best. And then after that game, I'm gonna have Utah UCLA on as I react to it, and hopefully that video should be posted Saturday night. So what you should do is you should be watching Utah UCLA and waiting for Off the Bench Podcast to release their week 1 instant reactions. That's all I got for y'all today. Put your seatbelts on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be a fun ride. And I'm going to be there in spirit with each and every one of y'all. But for now, y'all have a great day. Go make somebody smile as always. Thanks so much for watching. Just go out and have a great day. That's all that we ask. And happy week 1 to all those who celebrated. And we'll see you on the next episode.